So, Colin, thank you so much for joining me again today. I am really excited that we're going to be doing more cooking classes. We've had some really fun classes so far. How have you been? We are now, moving into the fall. You and I are talking today on the first day of fall, which is super exciting.
Yeah, it's good. The classes have been great. We did a bunch of classes before that were kind of centered around, summer eating and, using some of that produce up and, also some of the pantry stuff up. But now as we move into fall, then there's some other classes that I usually teach that are a little bit more fall appropriate and holiday appropriate. So we'll dive into
And
those.
definitely good to eat with the seasons. Focus on, the flavors and whatever we can get that's fresh. I know that lately I've been enjoying. It seems like it's been an amazing bumper crop of tomatoes lately.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I find when it comes to tomato season, like I try to remember every time it's tomato season how good they are, and promise myself that I will not be tempted come like April or March when there's a ripe red looking tomato that doesn't taste anything like you get it when it's fresh off the vine. It's such a different
No.
fruit.
Yep.
Uh, have you found any good any good finds at markets or anything recently? Any super exciting produce that you've enjoyed?
Well, I signed up for the Misfits produce,
Oh, I've
so
heard about that. That's cool.
we get the box every week, and some of it looks, kind of funky and kind of
Oh,
fun, but you know, I make a lot of different sauces and bowl meals and things, so whatever I get, I get stuff in the box, and just like a CSA, the community supported agriculture.
yeah.
If you belong to a farm like that, then, you tend to get produce and say, what is that? What do I do with that? Well, it's great in a bowl meal, just make a good sauce, pour it over it, and there you go. There's dinner.
In our family, we've come to kind of the conclusion that when in doubt, roast it. We got a kohlrabi the other day. We
Oh,
also
yeah.
got a box of produce from a CSA, and like, I've had some good kohlrabi salads, but we ended up Jackie roasted it and my wife and it was really good. I was surprised. Just anything you put a nice little roast, a little brown on there, and yeah, it was delicious.
Sure.
Brings out the sugars and makes it a little sweeter. It's really good.
Hmm.
Not so good if you're trying to eat raw. That doesn't work for you. But we're not trying to eat raw.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes I also had a whole bunch of turnips that showed up in our drawer, and they were these gorgeous white turnips. I guess I was reading about them. There's all these different varieties of turnips, which I wasn't even aware. Didn't even I guess a rutabaga is even a turnip.
Hmm.
Um, but I ended up mashing them with some other potatoes and did a mashed potato and turnip dish that turned out really nice.
Yeah. Well, the culprit I always used to get with the CSA was kale, just kale every week,
Yeah,
and
you're not a big fan of kale, I know.
well, I love it in a bowl meal or something like
Oh,
that, just not in a smoothie. But
okay, yeah,
that's my personal preference. But we get this kale in the box every week. When it's too cold for everything else to grow, but kale
right.
can't
Yeah.
stop the kale, keeps on coming. So
I've been looking. I always thought it would be fun to write that cookbook that was like the Urban Forager cookbook, and it was all about like looking for the flower boxes that are planted with purple kale because you can find those in the middle of January, and teaching people how you could eat off of those. Um,
sure.
uh, I don't know what else you would eat. It would probably be a pretty basic existence, but beat starving. Uh,
Hmm.
Talking about all the produce that's available, we also have some serious holidays coming up where there's a lot of eating with our friends and our family traditionally. It could look a little different this year, but hopefully, we can all enjoy time, even if, with our just the family that we have around us, or sometimes we're just cooking for ourselves because it's not safe to get with other people, and that's the year that we're having. But we can still find some comfort in some healthy holiday food. So,
Hmm.
Colin, when you think about the holidays and cooking, what are the first dishes that come to your mind?
Well, there's some casseroles that I always make. So the green bean casserole, I love
Hmm.
that. It's usually kind of one of the more boring things on the table, but boy, I developed a recipe for that that uses poblano peppers, and oh, it's so good. It's delicious.
You're
So
not. I bet you're not using a can of cream of mushroom soup. That does not seem
I'm
like your
not.
style. No,
I'm not. No,
you're
using
not.
all fresh, healthy ingredients. And anytime that I go to a Thanksgiving party and bring that, then people rave about that. So
Yep.
we'll be working on that one. Going to be doing some whole food, healthy versions of some of the more traditional holiday favorites, like that, and some other things. So. Yeah, so that's a fun class to do too.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's going to be a blast, and yeah, whether people are cooking for a few other people or just for themselves, are most of the dishes that you're going to be showing us, are they scalable so that we can cook them for 4 people, or we can make them kind of just double them and make them for 8 or 12?
Yes, yeah, they're scalable.
Awesome.
You can make a whole batch and then have most of it yourself, and it's all healthy. So the more you eat, then the healthier you get. Right?
All about the leftovers. That's one of the best things about the holidays. Now, I do hope that we're going to do something. We're going to think about desserts a little bit. Sometimes, especially if we think about Thanksgiving and all the pies and such. Do you have a favorite? There's, kind of the folks who love the apple pie or a pecan pie or a pumpkin pie. Colin, what's your favorite?
I'd say probably pumpkin pie is my favorite.
Pumpkin, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we've actually been enjoying our house, your pumpkin pie smoothie. So I bet, yeah, I know you make a killer pumpkin pie. So, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Are there anything, kind of secrets that you try to keep in mind? I know sometimes the holidays are tough because it can be a time when we have, comfort foods that we really want to go to. And sometimes we eat too much. Sometimes we eat too much rich food. I think it's really appealing that we're talking about how to be healthy for the holidays. But do you have any tips about ways that you kind of feel good about yourself while enjoying all these good foods?
Well, the perspective that I always come from is using fresh whole food ingredients and trying to stay away from the processed stuff. That's the stuff that really makes me feel pretty heavy afterwards, and literally and figuratively. So if you can use the fresh whole food versions of these different recipes, then like I said, if you have a lot of it, then yes, it's filling, but it doesn't give you that heavy feeling afterwards. So, it's kind of a different take on what you're used to. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I know it's going to be a delicious class, and everybody's going to want to, make sure they take time out of their schedule so they can come and enjoy thinking about some healthy foods for the holidays. Because, I think that's probably one of our greatest pleasures this time of year. Is going to be just gathering around the table and sharing things with the people close to us. So Thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas with us, Colin. I think it's going to really make a difference for a lot of homes this year.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, happy to.